Google released a new phone? Hey guys, it's TechFlix here out with another video, and salute to all of you for bringing us up to 80 plus subscribers. Well, to begin with, Google finally released, not finally, for the first time Google has released its new phone by the name the Google Pixel. Now the Google Pixel has also been used in the Chromebooks by Google. Well, Google has its own operating system besides Android, and that is the Chrome OS, which is kind of like a PC based OS, and all those Chrome OS books, or like all those notebooks or laptops with the Chrome OS by Google was called as Pixel. Well, let's look at the phone department. Well, the phone finally came in. It has been made inside and out, the heart and soul. The software and the hardware has been entirely made by Google. So now we get to taste what Google is trying to give us all. Well, of course, phone is a little expensive for all those staying in India. The price for a 32 gig version of the Google Pixel is 57 or 58,000, and if you happen to go for the 128 GB, it would go up to 78,000. And all those staying outside India, I'll put the prices down below so that you can have a look and you can pre-order it. It has still not come in stores as far as it comes to India. In abroad, in US and in Canada, yes, the Google Pixel is quite available. You have the Google Assistant available. Well, all of us have been known with Google Now. Google Now has been updating, and we've been having all those updates, and all those people in India haven't been using it as much as the people in US or Canada. Well, who is Google Now? Google Now is the assistant which is inbuilt in your Android phone. Well, you can have Siri in Apple and Cortana in Windows, whereas you have Google Now in Android. So the Google Now upgradement has come and is now known as the Google Assistant. You can have a conversation with us. As soon as you long hold your home screen, you will have Google Assistant open up, and like you have that conversation type of the window. So yeah, you can directly talk about things which you really want to talk about. So in case you happen to talk about the Eiffel Tower and you say that what is its height, and you do not refer what is the Eiffel Tower's height, the conversation would go along like how you have a conversation with a friend. And let me tell you, artificial intelligence is the future. Like, you have all robots and all that talking to you. Back in the 90s, you would not have any of these stuff. You wouldn't even think of a phone talking back to you. That would be considered as total stupidity. But whereas this has now been made possible by artificial intelligence, and Google has been really researching very hard on this, and that is why I feel that Google is doing quite well in the artificial intelligence area. So you have the rounded up icons on the Google launcher, on the Pixel launcher. Well, you have a new launcher by Google, and that is known as a Pixel launcher. You could also find that on the Google Play Store. It is quite available, and yeah, it has round icons. All the icons are no longer squarish. While you have the Allo or the Duo apps, their shapes have not been changed on the Google launcher, on the Pixel launcher actually. But yeah, they look quite good, and once you swipe up from the dock, there's no longer a menu icon or a menu kind of a button where you push into your menu and you have all your apps. Well, what you have here, you just swipe up from the dock and you will open up your menu, and you just swipe it down, just vice versa. Like, you swipe up, swipe down, swipe up, swipe down, and you will open up the menu and close it down respectively. It's no pop-up, it just slides, and yeah, it really gives you more area to actually just, swipe your finger rather than just locating your finger on one side of the phone. So that's a very recent update which has come with the Pixel launcher, and yes, it is much better than TouchWiz on the Samsung phones, on the default browser of all the Samsung phones, such as the TouchWiz launcher, which is a little bit buggy here and there, and it has a little bit problems, but yeah, let me just ignore it. So with Google Now, previously what you could do is you could actually maybe text your friend or call your friend just by tapping the microphone button. Well, what do you have right now? You could obviously text using a normal message, while you can also text using Allo or Duo, one of those messaging apps. Maybe that's Allo, Duo, both of them are quite confusing to me. But you could, in future, you could also send messages via Google Assistant through WhatsApp to whomever your friend is. So that is going to be a decent a decent feature, of course, so that you don't need to really, have your hands typing on maybe the keyboard or maybe the keyboard of your own phone. And to move further, you also have the camera department. The camera department is made pretty good. Now let me tell you something. This phone has a digital image stabilization. You have 12.7 megapixel camera, and that is what the rear camera is. The front camera is an 8 megapixel camera, which is 1080 pixels, which is just HD ready. And if I have to be talking about the rear camera, you could go up to taking 4K videos with the rear camera, which is said to be pretty good. And yes, of course, it is pretty good. 4K is a real good quality. I'll be making a separate video on resolution soon. And so what do we have out here? We do not have optical image stabilization, whereas the iPhone does have that. We have out here, we have the digital image stabilization. So what do I mean by that? The image stabilization, let me take that part into consideration. So whenever you have those shaky hands and you're literally trembling with that camera and you can't keep it straight, well, what do you do? Well, what happens in such cases? In case your phone happens to have image stabilization, be digital and mostly optical image stabilization is what is really coming in phones these days. Maybe you could have those in your phones, and with those shaky hands, and once you put the OIS or the optical image stabilization on, you could have those shakiness avoided in all the photographs or videos you take. So out here we do not have optical, we have digital, as I said, but I would really not take the Google Pixel for video making in case I happen to have shaky hands, because as soon as I go from left to right or right to left or any of those sides, there's that mechanical lag. So it goes like from one, it goes like this, and there is that kind of lag. You have those squarish, blockish type of those lags, which is not available on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. So when it comes to optical image stabilization, yes, I would go with the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. But iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus are not the first one to bring out optical image stabilization. Let me make you aware of that. So, but yeah, the iPhones is really good with this. Moving further, you also have burst in case your Google Pixel, in case you happen to take a burst series of photographs with the Google Pixel, the Pixel will automatically select the best photograph, the best photograph from that series of burst photographs, and will save that on your Google Photos or maybe your gallery in the Google Pixel.